In today's Arena Breakout video, we're going to go over what I feel are the best Arena Breakout settings in 2023 so far. And we're also going to talk about every single setting just in case you don't understand what they mean. Hi, my name is Dab, and if you enjoy Arena Breakout videos plus tips and tricks about Arena Breakout, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for videos. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and open up the settings and start right into the basic settings. And first off, we've got aim assist. And aim assist in Arena Breakout actually harms you more than it helps you in my opinion. Sometimes depending on what bullets you're using, you really need to focus on certain limbs, whether it be the head, the legs, or the arms, when trying to get flesh damage, or sometimes you need to aim for the chest when you have that high ammo that breaks straight through the armor. So having the aim assist on makes it extremely hard to dictate exactly which limb you're shooting at on your enemy. So for this reason, and also the fact many people find aim assist for noobs, I have mine turned off. My ADS mode is set to tap, and this is the way I have it in all other mobile games that I play with guns, but you could choose to either use hold or mixed. And if you don't know what mixed is, it's kind of in the name, but if you tap the button, it acts as if you have the setting tap on, and if you hold the button down, it acts as if you have hold set. So depending on how you interact with your button changes the way it functions, but I just have mine set to tap. Now you'll see this a few times in the options, and to my knowledge, we don't have the camera rotation button yet. So for that reason, anything that says camera rotation, I currently have turned off. But if there was an eye button or a camera rotation button in the game, I would probably have these turned on so that you could see around without having to actually turn your guy's body. I've got my vibration settings turned on just in case you're not looking and you need to know when something's happening. I've got all the beginner settings turned off, but if you're new to this game, having these on might help you out. Like the reloading tutorial letting you know when you need to reload your magazines, or the treatment tutorial that lets you know exactly which item you need to use to heal a specific ailment. When it comes to my notification settings, I have all those turned on because I don't really like to miss anything in the game, so I've got those set on. But if your friends list is super full and you're constantly getting invites and friend requests and stuff, you can turn these on so that you don't get bothered at all. Now let's go ahead and move on to some of the more important basic settings. I have my tap to reload set to on, so that way I get to reload my magazines way quicker. And what this button does is instead of having to tap that extra button to tell the game you want to reload this exact ammo into this exact magazine, all you'll have to do is tap the ammo and tap the magazine and it'll instantly start reloading. All right, now here's an important one that you're going to want to make sure that you have turned off, and that's the quick throw option. Dying to a grenade in Arena Breakout is extremely easy. So when you're throwing your grenades, you're definitely going to want to take the extra time to aim those bad boys. And you never know how full your backpack is. If you throw one around you, you might not be able to run fast enough to get away from it before it explodes. So having the quick throw option on is a surefire way to get yourself taken out of the lobby by yourself. Next, we have auto recommend medicine. I'm not sure why that's not up in the beginner settings, but I also have this turned off. I already know how to play the game. Many of you may not know, but there actually is a drag to move option. If you hold your finger down on a certain item for long enough, it actually gives you the option to drag it to anywhere on the screen. Now, I have this option turned on as sometimes it can be fun to do that. Hopefully down the road with this option turned on, the delay that you have to go through between getting to move an item is shortened by at least a little bit because it's kind of long right now, which makes tapping to move an item still faster. But it's pretty fun to do, so I have mine turned on. I have my sprint mode set to left joystick instead of sprint button, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes when you use your creep button or sneak button, whatever you guys want to call it, when you have your joystick set to the left, you can accidentally start running and give your position away. So if you have your sprint mode set to the sprint button, when you're creeping, no matter how much you move your joystick around, you will never accidentally start running. And that's pretty much the only reason I can see for this setting being in the game. I have my double tap to sprint set to on, and if you don't know, if you double tap the joystick, your guy will automatically start sprinting. I feel like a lot of people didn't know that. They've also given you a sprint camera shake option to kind of adjust how much realism is in the game when you're running around. And I don't know why anybody would have this turned up. I have mine set to completely low so that when I'm running around, I can see enemies and everything just without having to see the screen move like this as I'm trying to look at things and stuff. So I just have mine set to low. I have my HUD vibration set to on, that way I never miss a single HUD notification in case I'm looking away. Currently the hit effect is set to green because it's the only one available. If you tap red, it says stay tuned, so I'm guessing they're adding that at some point. And another major one you're going to want to make sure you have turned on is close backpack when hit. This option is going to save your life so many times if you have it turned on, and it pretty much is self-explanatory. If you're in a loot container or somebody's backpack trying to loot up, in case an enemy or a scav pops around the corner and at least hits you one time, it's going to auto close that for you so that you can get directly into the fight. The next setting is completely personal preference, and that one's gyroscope. Now, I play this game with an iPad Pro, and it's typically always sitting on a stand, but you never know when I'm going to pick that bad boy up and need to make precision snipes. And gyroscope in Arena Breakout is huge because you actually need to aim for the heads more than ever now. So depending on what your gun build is, the recoil can be crazy in this game. And gyroscope is going to be your #1 fine-tuned instrument that's going to let you control your recoil to the best of its abilities. So I have mine set to always on, but if you're a beginner in this game, you'll probably have this off. The next setting is for actual crazy people, so mine's set off because I'm a sane person and I don't want my axes inverted. I don't know why that's even in a video. Who wants that? Who asked? I don't even know. Next, we have the camera rotation while peeking setting. I have my camera rotation while peeking button turned on for whenever they finally add that button. I have my peek mode set to tap, and that's personal preference because I like to tap and untap when I'm peeking. But just like the ADS settings, you can either set this to hold or mixed depending on the way you like to play. And I know a lot of players might have this setting turned on, but I actually have it turned off because I feel it doesn't help that much. And that's the auto ADS while peeking setting. And with this turned on, when you hit either one of your peek buttons, it's going to auto ADS you. And depending on what ergonomics you have on your gun, that might get you killed because you could go to peek around a corner and it take you forever to ADS so that you can finally see what you were trying to look at. So I'd rather decide when I want to ADS and not let the peek button do it for me. Next, we're going to go over my control settings. And I use the far left option that has your left movement dynamic and your right fire button completely static. This way, no matter where I tap on the left side of the screen, I'll always be using my joystick. And then I'll also have that fixed fire button for my index finger to tap. And in case you don't know, I play 5-finger claws, so I have a lot of the buttons set in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And if anybody wants to use the exact controls layout I have, I'm going to go ahead and tap the share build button, copy, and I'll put this down in the description below. Now, if you're a phone player that only uses your thumbs, you might want to go with this middle option because you can tap the fire button and then also move the same finger around to keep your aim on your enemy at all times. So this way you only really have to use 2 fingers to play the game. But keep in mind, most of the player base probably plays with at least 3 fingers and is going to be way more agile than a thumbs player. So if you're new to mobile gaming and you want to close the skill gap between you and most of the player base, try to move your ADS and fire buttons up into the corners so that way you can utilize more than just your thumbs in your gameplay. And since Arena Breakout doesn't have the option for multiple layouts yet, when I play on my iPad Pro, I use the far left one, so that way I have my controls layout for that. And then sometimes when I'm on the go and I'm playing this on my phone, I'll use the far right controls layout. And the only difference with this is my movement joystick and my right fire button are completely fixed, and I can use any other part of the screen to aim with. So it's almost like the exact same thing as the far left one. Next, we'll go into sensitivities. And what I'm about to tell you is very underwhelming. I literally just hit the medium button and have these all set to default, and that's what I've been rocking with. I haven't gotten my hands on every single scope in this game yet, so give me a couple more months and I'll probably have a master sensitivity video come out. But for now, I'm just using the medium default settings. Next is the audio settings, and those are pretty much personal preference. But if your device has this available, I would recommend using the spatial audio setting and also having the 3D surround sound turned on. This is going to make it so much easier to hear enemies' footsteps. And with the spatial audio turned on plus the 3D audio turned on, you'll be able to tell exactly if an enemy is above you, below you, 2 floors below you, 5 floors above you. These 2 settings will make it way easier to figure out exactly where your enemy is. So make sure you have them turned on. Really quick one, they have language settings depending on what language you speak. This is personal preference, pick your language. Next, let's move on to the graphics settings. So these settings are going to be super personal depending on what device you use. But for me, I use an iPad Pro 2021 edition. And I like to play in the highest frame rate possible, so I picked balance and 120 FPS. And I'm going to share a tip for Apple users that you guys might not know. If you go into your settings and you go to the accessibility area, tap motion, and make sure reduce motion is turned off, as well as limit frame rate. Then also go over to the battery tab and make sure low power mode is turned off. If you had any one of those settings turned on, make sure you turn them off and then restart Arena Breakout, and you might actually have better graphics settings available to you. Now I'll just show you guys, with HD, I can only do 90 FPS. With HDR HD, I can only do Ultra, which is roughly 60. And with Ultra HD, I can only get super high frame rate. And that's approximately 45 to 50 frames, which is something I am not willing to play on. So I do balanced 120 FPS. That's going to give you the best frame rate and the best graphics possible. Now, graphic style is completely personal, but I use the gorgeous setting as I think it looks the best in the entire game. But I'll go ahead and put them all up on screen in comparison so that you can see what they all look like side by side. I also have my anti-aliasing switch turned on. And if you don't know what anti-aliasing is, it's pretty common in video games these days. And I'll go ahead and explain what anti-aliasing does. You're most likely playing this game on a phone or tablet that has a screen that's made out of pixels, which are square. So sometimes in video games, things that are supposed to look rounded actually end up looking a bit jagged. For example, power lines in video games. With anti-aliasing turned on, you'll notice that some of the corners on the pixels are rounded off, making a much better picture. Now, Arena Breakout's still in its global launch phase, and I'm sure over time they'll come out with performance updates, making the anti-aliasing work much better in this game. But currently with it on or off, I don't see a massive difference. But I do suggest having it on. It will eventually make the game look way better. Now, the non-standard screen setting is completely personal, and if you need it, go ahead and use it. If you don't use it. But as you can see, as you move these in and out, it'll make it to where the game can fit inside of your screen in case it doesn't fit properly natively. And this setting is for devices that have crazy rounded corners that might end up cutting off some of the gameplay for you. The last 3 areas in the settings are pretty self-explanatory. You've got the download center where you're going to download all the resources for the game. You've got the privacy settings where you're going to set all your privacy settings, whether you want, your friends to be able to see your career results or the general public to be able to look at your battle stats. You can have that turned on or off. And there's actually a super interesting setting right here that I haven't seen in any other video game before, and that's the online status setting. In other video games, you get like a limited amount of uses per week that you can go offline but still be online. But in Arena Breakout, if you don't want your friends to know you're online, you just flick that on and they'll never know. Hopefully my friends don't watch this part of the video, because then they'll just go invisible and I'll never know they're online. Anyway, maybe I'll scrap that from the video. And then another thing which I've never seen in a video game before, you actually have a network test. So if you're not sure if you have a strong connection to the Arena Breakout servers, they actually give you a tool right inside of the game where you can test your device's connection to the Arena Breakout servers. Let me go ahead and test mine right now. So that's pretty cool. They give you a network test button in the game. All right, well, that's what I feel are the best settings currently in 2023 for Arena Breakout. And like I said, over time, I'll fine-tune my sensitivities and make another video for that. Now, let me know down in the comment section below what you have all of your settings set to in case they were different than mine, or suggestions that you have for my settings alone. Make sure you hit the like button if this video helped you, and subscribe for future Arena Breakout videos on this channel. All right, bye-bye now. I'll see you guys in the next one. See you in the next tips and tricks. Tap the next tips and tricks video on the screen. It's probably up. Yeah, go ahead and I'll see you in the next one. All right.